Hello everyone, welcome back to another Black Clover mobile video. My name is Equality and today we are going to talk about the kits of the new characters that we will be getting soon. This is basically the second part of my info video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out, and for everyone else, enjoy the video. The only thing that is left to do for us now is to go over the actual leaked kits that we got, and we will start at the top. So we got the kit for Ceremony Luck, being one of our seasonal characters for this season, the other one being Ceremony Yami, so we're gonna get Luck and Yami for the beginning of the season. No, they are actually not there yet. Maybe they will come out tomorrow, or the seasonal banner. The banner for season 2 is ending in 5 days, so maybe then it's gonna come out as well. But we can look over their kits already and we can kind of see if they're gonna be good or bad. So the only one that I kind of read through a little bit already was Luck, but let's look over his skills again. So his skill 1 is Lightning Dance. It deals damage to an enemy with a kick imbued with lightning magic, and it inflicts electrocute on an enemy, dealing continuous damage for X turns, so your usual electrocute, and he attacks after removing an enemy's barrier. So this is really good because I think, I could be wrong, but I think this is our first character that removes a barrier with his skill 1. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But this is kind of big because then you can easily get rid of barriers. And then the electrocute is not super crazy because electrocute is like a meh DOT effect where you don't have a lot of people who do electrocute yet. So I don't know if they're trying to start a new meta with that. We will see. But I think this is more important for his passive that we will read in a second. And then skill 2, we have Ground Crush. He uses lightning magic to crush the ground, dealing damage to all enemies. So this is an enemy, meaning this is a single target, this is an AoE. And it grants increased counterattack duration by X turns to all allies, and grants all allies counterattack for X turns. So I think this is kind of trying to go with the counterattack teams that there is. I think we have blue Charlotte, who was big on the counterattack thing, and then this kind of also works with Noel, I'm guessing. So we will see. I'm wondering what his color is gonna be. I'm thinking maybe it's gonna be blue, and then you can put him together with Charlotte. And who else could work well for that? Maybe even Blue Fana, because we saw that her counter-attacking was really strong. Who else could this work well with? Well, if it's a blue team, of course, you can put pretty much everyone else who's blue and who's good. With Noel, Halloween Noel, Mars, Lotus, Kiato, Julius. That will probably be strong if he's blue. And then his special, his ult, is Electric Slide. Uses the momentum gained from sliding down to deliver a powerful kick at an enemy, dealing damage, inflicts electrocute on an enemy, so electrocute again, and upon attacking deals X% of attack and magic attack as extra damage based on the instances of counter attacks present on all allies. So yeah, this is a pretty heavy electrocute and counter attack thing going on. So just based on that, with the counter attacks present on all allies, and we don't really know what the X% is at the moment, but if you can combine that with Charlotte's skill of giving everyone counterattack, that means we have 4 instances of counterattack present on all allies, meaning that will buff the whole attack quite a bit. And then his passive is, if counterattack is present on self, attacks after granting X% increased damage dealt. So whenever he has a counterattack on himself, he will be dealing more damage, so you will want to have counterattack on him for most of the time. And then Awakening passive, which is through dupes, I think, or I'm never sure if this or this is the one with dupes, but Awakening passive kind of sounds like this is what he unlocks when you get him to LR, and this is maybe the dupe passive. which is okay. Maybe it is like that because this one is not super crazy. But his awakening passive, every turn of counteract is pressed. Oh yeah, it has to be like that because this also changes again with the level, I think. Like this is on 2 dupes and this is on 5 dupes. I'm not quite sure. Anyways, if counterattack is present on self, grants an X% reduced damage taken buff for X turns, and it does not stack. On top of him getting more attack because of the counterattack, he also gets reduced damage for that. And then I'm guessing this is level 5. This is then where the electrocute comes in play. If the enemy has electrocutes and he attacks them, while a counterattack is on him, he will get another SP, meaning special point, so his ult, which is, I don't know, this is like very, very, very far thought. So this whole electrocute thing is not super crazy. I think I would more go for the counterattack thing, because this is like really hard to unlock anyways, and then without having that, his whole electrocute thing is almost not useless because they're still getting DOT damage, but not super effective. His partner skill, if an enemy is afflicted with continuous damage, attacks after granting X% increased damage dealt buff. This plays on his electrocute thing, and it gives him increased damage. And then his Grimoire skill changes his skill 2, so his ground crush, and it inflicts electrocute on an enemy dealing continuous damage. Okay, so basically it also makes skill 2 deal electrocute, and then his Grimoire passive is if counterattack is present on self, there is a X% chance to attack after granting an X% increased all attack buff. So this is pretty nice Grimoire actually for everyone who is giving themselves counterattack and is an attacker. I'm guessing he's probably gonna be an attacker. So everyone who has counterattack and attacks or is affected by counterattack and attacks, this is pretty nice. And that's pretty much all for his kit. And then we have Ceremony Yami. Ceremony Yami, skill 1 is continuous stab. He quickly stabs an enemy, continuously dealing damage. Deals X% of attack and magic attack as extra damage. Okay. Not quite sure what extra damage is, but we'll probably find out soon. Upon using skill 1, the number of instances of extra damage increases maximum X times. We don't really know what extra damage is at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Upon attacking an enemy afflicted with bleed, inflicts a X% reduced HP recovery receive debuff on them. So when they're bleeding, he will reduce the HP recovery as well. I'm wondering what this extra damage is. Maybe it will be explained to us, but I don't think I see this anywhere else here. His skill 2 is Raging Strike. It performs a Raging Strike with a sword, dealing damage to all enemies. Attacks after removing counterattack from an enemy. So Yami kind of counters luck already. Upon attacking an enemy afflicted with bleed, inflicts a stun status ailment on them for X turns. So that's kind of similar to Red Yami, I'm guessing, because when they were bleeding and he attacked them, they got a stun. That is the same as Red Yami, yeah. But he also removes counterattack, so it's kind of like a better version of that. I'm gonna guess he's probably gonna be green, because we have a blue and a Red Yami already. And then it would also kind of counter luck if luck is blue. And then his ult is Dimension Slash. Oh, Dimension Slash Yami. There you guys have your Dimension Slash Yami. It unleashes a powerful strike that can even slash dimensions, dealing damage to an enemy. It grants himself an X% increased defense penetration buff for X turns and grants himself an X% of attack as a barrier. Okay, I don't know why he gives himself a barrier when he does Dimension Slash, but that's cool, I guess. And then, but also this removes barrier, right? So they counter each other a little bit. Crazy. And removes all instances of continuous damage on himself or the whole team. I don't know, but that's kind of good. I think this Yami is probably going to be really good. just the bleed thing is a little weird because he doesn't do bleed himself. So if he is green, we have Witch Queen, which is also green, right? Oh, she's red. Never mind. But she does bleed, right? She does DOT. Maybe it works with Witch Queen together, kind of. Yeah, we'll see how that works. His passive grants himself X% increased damage dealt when attacking a defender. That's kind of meh. Then his Awakening passive, if there are 8 SPs at the start of a turn, which is usually the case when you start off, he grants himself X% of attack as a barrier for X turns, so he pretty much starts off with a barrier. And then the upgraded version is that if there are 4 or fewer, he grants himself an X% increased damage dealt buff. Interesting. Very interesting. His partner skill attacks after removing counterattack from an enemy. That's kind of meh as well. His Grimoire skill and skill 2, that's where the bleed comes in. Inflicts bleed on an enemy for X turns, dealing continuous damage. This probably is pretty good to have if you want to play him by himself well, because then he inflicts the bleed by himself and you don't have to have someone else in your team that deals bleed. And then we have the Grimoire passive, which upon using skill 1, there's an X% chance to attack after granting an X% increased damage dealt. It seems also like a very good Grimoire that everyone could use. Well, every attacker at least. Upon using skill 1, there's an X% chance of to attack after granting increased damage dealt. Or like at least everyone who really utilizes their skill 1 a lot. And then now, the biggest and most exciting one is Black Asta. So his skill 1 is the Demon Slayer Sword. He strikes down an enemy with the Demon Slayer Sword, dealing damage. And if anti-magic is present on self, he grants an special points plus X buff, so he gets special points. And if anti-magic is not present on himself, he inflicts HP recovery immunity on an enemy. So meaning they can not get healed by a teammate, which is crazy. And then his skill 2 is Black Hurricane. Asta creates a Black Hurricane while holding the Demon Slayer Sword, dealing damage to all enemies. So this is, again, single target, the first one, and the second one is AoE. And if anti-magic is not present on self, he grants all allies an increased defense buff for X turns. And if it is present on self, he attacks after removing a barrier from a designated enemy. So that can be kind of crazy. So I'm guessing. Wait, let's read the ulti first. His ult is Black Meteorite. It delivers a blow imbued with the energy of anti-magic, dealing damage to an enemy, so single target. And if anti-magic is present on self, attacks after removing an enemy's barrier. And if anti-magic is not present on self, it inflicts taunt on an enemy for X turns. I guess you kind of have to keep that in mind for whatever you're trying to do. So for both of these, if you do have anti-magic, it will just in quotations marks just remove the barrier. And if it's not present on the second one, you will increase the defense for every ally, and with the ulti it will inflict taunt on an enemy. And for skill 1 it's kind of the other way around. So if anti-magic is present, you will get SP special point, which is good, and if it's not present, you will inflict HP recovery immunity. How does the anti-magic come in? If HP is equal to or lower than X%, applies anti-magic to self. If HP is above X%, removes anti-magic from self. So basically he gets it when he's under an X amount of percentage of HP. I am guessing that it's probably gonna be around 50%, maybe 40. I don't think they're gonna put it too low, because in this game, usually the survivability is not that crazy. You either get clapped, the character gets clapped in one turn, or they barely survive, I guess. And anti-magic does that per 1500 defense, it grants 10% increased damage dealt and immunity to status ailments. Is that insane? Or is that weird? Because that means like he's kind of half an attacker, half a defender, because with this saying per 1500 defense, it grants 10% increased damage dealt, and there's like no limit on this. So do you want to run him with defense? Do you want to go like attack? And maybe depending on how high his crit is, crit chance or crit damage, and then defense as well, because this increases with defense. Either way, this is insane. Sounds really, really good. And his awakening passive, we didn't even get there yet. His awakening passive, upon gaining anti-magic, it inflicts taunt on all enemies for X turns at the start of a wave, grants all enemies status ailment immunity for X. Wait, is that correct? Why would he grant all enemies status ailment immunity? Or does ailment mean that they cannot be cleansed? Does not evolve at LR plus 5, which is nice, because that means it is you only need 2 dupes, but probably you want to still get him on max dupes to get him super strong. But for free to play, this is really good, because then that means they don't necessarily have to spend super much. And then partner skill grants the partner mage protection for X turns, and his grimoire skill changes skill 2 to grant all allies a total defense buff instead of increased defense level something. What total defense, I'm not sure what total defense is. I don't know if we had that before. And if his grimoire passive, if anti-magic is present on self per X, so this really only works on himself. If anti-magic is present on self per X defense, grants X% increased damage dealt. So his passive times 2. And when HP is equal to or lower than X%, it grants immortality for 1 turn. His grimoire passive gives immortality for 1 turn. This works on everyone. You want his grimoire. You want his grimoire. This is crazy. So he's gonna be insane. Guys, save your crystals up for Black Asta, please. He's gonna be insane. You want him, you're gonna pull for him, okay? So yeah, and that's pretty much all for this video so far. One last thing is we also have a few leaks of Mario, but her skills are not really there yet, so I'm not going to talk about that. And we also have a couple new sets, which I'm also not going to talk about that much because And then also from leaks, we know that we're going to get a couple login bonuses for half anniversary celebration, Christmas event, and New Year's event, and Asta release celebration. So we're going to be getting a bunch of stuff for free, I'm guessing, which is really nice. And there's going to be new packs for half anniversary celebration, for New Year's celebration, which is also cool. And for the skills, we also have the icons already for Luck, for Yami, and for Asta, and for Mario. I'm probably gonna have them shown in the video at some point already while reading the skills. And that is pretty much all to know for this update. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and help me out working on videos like this, because I'm very stressed at the moment and I'm trying to get everything done as quick as possible. So yeah, that would mean a lot to me. And and also to keep yourself informed when I upload new videos like this, which I definitely will do in the near future now. Yeah, as always, stay kind, stay balanced, and keep gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.